Been putting off that valve job. Let's get to it. First step is to take off your valve cover. Obviously, I've already taken the bolts out, the nuts essentially off the other week because I was tightening my head bolts. I'm not even going to disconnect it, but you know, you got a good cork gasket here and everything. So I'm also going to pull out my spark plugs. The heck was that? It just makes it a lot easier to turn the engine over to get it in the right position because of that lack of compression. So what I'm going to do now is use this big 1 5/16 inch socket on the crank and turn the engine. And we're going to follow the rule of nines to adjust these. And what that means is when, let's say, number 1 is fully open, we'll adjust number 8. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 fully open, we'd adjust number 7, meaning that is closed and down. So open being fully pushing it down because the valve's open. So let me rotate it and we'll start. Here's the Haynes manual I'm using. Classic MGB 62 through 80. Page 50 has the valve clearance information. And number 60 here, section 60 shows the numbers. You know, 8 fully open, adjust 1, etc. All right, so I got it around so that 4 is all the way open, basically all the way down. And 5 here, I checked it is really too tight. Okay, so I wanted to show you what we're going to do is loosen this here. And then here is the screw, if you can see that. That will loosen a little bit and then retighten this lock here. So let's go through that process. So what you need is, you can adjust these cold, the valve's cold, and the Haynes manual says 0.015 on the feeler gauge, or 15 thousandths. And what you want to do is get it in there, and do you feel a little bit of drag on it, but not, you know, super loose and not super tight or anything. I got my feeler in here and it's just too tight. That's better. Okay. Right in there's our sweet spot. You can see I'm just kind of tightening and loosening that screw. Just a little bit of drag right there. So now the key is to hold that screw steady while you retighten the lock nut. Okay, I'm cranking, and number 1 is coming down, and that's pretty much all the way down now. So that means that valve is fully open. So 1 is fully down, and we'll adjust number 8 then. Okay, so what you want to do is loosen the nut on the back of the rocker. Okay, we loosen that, and I like to leave the wrench on there, and you can get your screwdriver right on the screw that tightens that valve. So let's see, as I tighten this, just looking for a little bit more drag on it. If you get too much, you're actually pushing the spring down a little bit, and then that's not the right gap. So that's good. You want to hold the screw in place while you tighten it. Okay, so next up we turn the engine again. And let's see which one comes down here next. We did 1. According to the Haynes manual, I think 3 is on its way down. Yes. So that means and it's already heading back up. We'll do 3. I can reverse it a little. We're just doing a valve adjustment here. And we'll go to 6 then, because of our rule of 9. So now we have 3 down. And let's go to 6 and see where that is. Feels good. Okay, so I'm around, I got 8 all the way down. 1 is open, and it's a little tight. So I'm gonna loosen it. And what I'll do is put the gauge in here. Let's get this right on there and ready to tighten. And I can just kind of flop around. I know they make a special tool for that too, but that's pretty good. Oop, too tight. Start to snug it up and just check it again here. That's good. Just a little bit of drag in there. Okay, so I just tighten it up. Feels good. So that's it once you've been around the whole rotation. I don't think there's a torque spec on the rocker arms. Maybe there is, but I mean, I've never used it. Just snug them up good. Okay, valve cover going back on. Make sure you get that cork gasket in place okay. And I found out what that noise was in the beginning. One of my silver washer things here fell off underneath the car. Let me retrieve that. Okay, first to go on are these nuts with the spacer. And that gets your valve cover in place. We'll do those. Okay, now we'll snug up the valve cover. Now, you don't want to put these on too tight, so gauge your elbow meter here. Too tight and you'll bend the valve cover a bit and never get your cork gasket right. So just snug them up enough that, you know, you can always re-snug them a bit if they're leaking oil. All right, now I'll just put this heater hose bar back on here and then put the spark plugs back in, get the right firing order, and we're all set.